there is a number that could mean extinction for a country. This number is 0.72. This is how many children the average South Korean woman is on track to have in her lifetime. To keep a population stable, you need this number to be at least 2.1. Otherwise, the country shrinks. Korea did not just cross below 1. In 2023, it reached the bottom at 0.72. This is the lowest level in peacetime a country has ever measured. Korea is not the only country battling this. In fact, among developed nations, nobody is above the fertility rate high enough to sustain its population for the next 100 years, with one exception. But why is that? Why is this country, one that was a developing nation a few decades ago and is now the 12th largest economy in the world, is one of the biggest cultural exporters heading towards extinction? Reason number 1, housing. Housing in Seoul has become brutally expensive. The median home costs roughly 13 to 14 times median annual household income. Imagine you and your partner together earn $50,000 a year after taxes. That's your household income. Now imagine a normal home in your city costs $700K. That's a price to income ratio of 14. The home costs 14 times what you make in a year. To put it in real terms, even if you spend $0, no rent, no food, electricity, clothes, transport, nothing at all, and saved every single dollar you earned, it would take you 14 years to buy that house outright in cash. Of course, nobody lives like that. The average family can save about 10 to 20% of their income. So the realistic time frame when they can buy a house is 40 to 70 years. Let's face it, that's a lifetime. Now, let's discuss number 2, the Hagwon system. Imagine a typical kid. They finish regular school around 3 or 4 p.m. They go home, do homework, play, maybe do one sport. Now, a Korean kid gets on the bus to the Hagwon, which is like a private school after regular school, running from 4 p.m. until 10 or even 11 p.m. English Hagwon, science, coding. Many kids attend 3 or 4 different Hagwons in the same week. Pretty sure that's already overwhelming for the kids. But not just for the kids. These schools are not for free. The Hagwon costs about $500 to $2,000 per month per child. Almost 80% of kids attend Hagwons. If you want your kids to be somebody, they need to attend. Why do the parents do this? Because every other parent does the same. It's like an arms race between parents. So here is the math a young Korean couple does in their head before having a kid. A sole apartment, 14 years of income, already impossible. One child, Hagwon from age to 18, maybe 150K to 300K in private education alone, plus food, clothes, regular school, university. 2 kids, double it. And you can already barely afford the apartment. So they have 1 kid, or 0. It's not that Koreans don't want children, it's that the culture has defined raising a child properly as something so expensive. Apartment, Hagwon, university, is doing it well for 2 kids is mathematically out of reach for most middle-class couples. Number 3, the marriage problem. In most Western countries, marriage and having kids have come apart. People live together, have babies, split up, remarry, have kids with new partners, and it's all normal. Roughly 40% of babies in the US, 60% in France and UK, are born to unmarried parents. In Korea, this hasn't happened. Only about 4 to 5% of Korean babies are born outside marriage. It's one of the lowest rates in the developed world. The cultural expectation is rigid. You get married first, then you have kids. Single moms face heavy social stigma, judgment from family, from neighbors, co-workers, sometimes outright discrimination. This sounds like a side issue, but it's actually a central one. It means the fertility rate is basically the marriage rate. If Koreans aren't marrying, they are not going to have children. There is no backup plan. And marriage is collapsing. Korean marriages dropped roughly 40% over the last decade. The average age of first marriage has climbed to about 34 for men and 31 for women, among the latest in the world. Many in their 30s and 40s are simply giving up entirely. Reason number 4, the extreme work culture. Now imagine you somehow cleared the marriage hurdle. You are married, you've got the apartment, you are ready for the baby. Here is what your work life looks like. Korea has some of the longest working hours in the developed world. The official work week is 52 hours, recently reduced from 68. But in practice, many salaried workers, especially in chaebol jobs, work much more. 10 to 12 hours a day are normal. Going home at 6 p.m. when your boss is still in the office is a career suicide. Zoom out from Korea, and you see something even bigger is going on. Modern culture has stretched the list of things a person is supposed to do before settling down to a length that barely fits in a lifetime. We want a degree, then a master's. We want a good job, then a better one. We want a house, a car, a running business on the side. We want to travel the world, see every continent, try every cuisine. We want to enjoy our 20s, go out, have parties, date around, build a personality. We want financial independence before we depend on anyone. And for many people, there is no clear moment in all of this where you stop and say, okay, that's enough. Now I start a family. Each milestone just hands you off to the next one. For most, the moment either comes too late or doesn't come at all. And by the time it does arrive, 1 or 2 kids is already a good outcome. Almost nobody will have big families that were normal a century or 2 ago, when people married at 20 and had 6 children because a whole generation of self-actualization first didn't exist. This is the uncomfortable truth. Development and education have suppressed fertility everywhere they have taken hold. Every wealthy country is below replacement. Korea is just the most extreme version of a pattern that runs through Japan, Italy, Spain, Germany, China, and increasingly the United States. The richer, the more educated a society gets, the more options it offers, and the more these options compete with having kids. Korea didn't invent this trap. It just walked into it harder and faster than anyone else.